What's good, YouTube? They Live, We Sleep, Part 6. The Mario Bros. Wildman Connection. I go by the name Pushy Push. Down below is my TikTok at pushy.push. Also, drop a like and subscribe right here to my YouTube at Pushy Push. I definitely would appreciate that. But let's get into this video right here. So, I want to start this off with something that I heard a long time ago. The elite has to tell you the things that they're going to do before they do it, or even if they did it, they have to tell you that they're going to do whatever this act is that they may have done. I've heard that before. But the thing that I realize is that they're not going to blatantly tell you what they've done. They will tell you, in a symbolic way. They will tell you inside of a movie. They will tell you inside of a video game. And this is the reason why we're at the Mario game right now, is because I've found that this game is filled with symbolic imagery as well as a hidden story that is possibly actually real. So the elite, they're not going to tell this real story, but they will do it in the form of a movie or in the form of a video game. So in order to understand this, you would have to get past, the entertainment part of this in order to see, you know, what the true intent of this game was intended for. So, as you can see, it says angry sun and happy moon. And this is the mindset that they want you to be with this game. When I was younger, I played Mario a lot. So, you know, I never looked at it like that. I didn't even pay attention to the story like that. I was just real deep about beating the game. So, this is the perception that you walk away with when you're not thinking about anything subliminal. You're just thinking that you're playing a regular game and you're trying to beat it. So, angry sun, happy moon, that's the mindset. This right here is what I call the beginning of the truth with this game, and an actual event that seemed to have happened, um, I would say, for our last paradigm. So I got actually, some work that shows that there was actually a large major war around about the 1400s. So I would consider that kind of like our last paradigm. So the game Mario is talking about our last paradigm. So in the beginning, you saw it said angry sun and happy moon. Well, now you see inside of the game Mario, it's always been a angry moon and an angry sun. And the thing about these two entities right here is that they would drop bombs on top of Mario, as well as he had to dodge, mushrooms and Koopa turtles on the ground. So this has that kind of like warlike thing to itself, I guess. But the coins below is the same image that is what you're looking at above. So you can see the flag right there, and I can say that that is reptilian, but we'll get into all that right there. Angry sun, angry moon. When you look at the coins down below, say it's the first one on the left, that's what you're looking at, an angry sun and an angry moon. And when you look to the right, and we'll look closer at that, the angry sun and the angry moon is engaged in a war. So in the game, the sun, it drops bombs down on Mario. Um, and that is what you're seeing inside of here. There is a Star Fort City, and there is an army shooting at the city with the angry sun above and the angry moon. So let's zoom in a little closer. It has the angry sun face right there. So just like there has the angry sun face, there's the angry sun face, and then there's the angry moon. And you can see there's a plume of smoke underneath the angry moon. So in the video game, the sun is dropping bombs on top of the cities, or trying to drop it on top of Mario. And in the game, there's ground forces that is also trying to attack Mario, or either try to attack the city. So this coin is the exact same thing that is inside of the Mario game. I give a example right here. This is a good example right here. So you see the angry sun in the sky right here. You see the angry sun. And then there's Mario. Well, Mario could be standing on an ancient ruin. He could be standing on a building that was blown up. He could be standing on an old castle. You got to look at it like that. And then there's the mushrooms, and then the little Koopa, turtles. So this is like, say, your ground forces, and then you have your air defense. So you have, say, something is equivalent of a fighter jet, trying to drop bombs onto Mario and hitting the building that he's standing on. And then you got ground forces that he's trying to duck. So yes, this is all in a cartoon mode, but Mario is standing on top of a destroyed building, and he does got ground forces trying to attack him, and the sun is trying to attack him. So we go back. That is the exact same thing. There's the sun right there. You have the ground forces attacking, and there's the city. Okay. In the Mario part, the city right here might be destroyed, but it's the exact same thing. There's the angry sun. It's being attacked. The army below could be considered like the Koopa and the mushrooms trying to get Mario. And this is the city right here. So angry sun, angry moon. And that's crazy because this is on a 16th century coin right here. So this image right here is the exact same image right here. It's just, it's in cartoon mode. And that's what I mean when I say the elite will try to tell you, but they're not going to blatantly tell you. Like, this coin does a better job at trying to really tell you, opposed to this video game is telling you in a form of entertainment, so they don't feel bad. They're like, well, we told you. And you would say, well, you put it in a video game, and that's not their fault in their mindset. So it's up to us to look at the things that entertain us, because these are the things that's telling you. So there's the angry sun, Mario on top of a old building. The sun, it drops bombs, and it has the ground forces. Here's another example. This is the angry sun. You can see the face. Definitely see the face. There's the angry moon. And now you can see the Star Fort City. And there's an army going inside of the Star Fort City. So the angry sun and the armies that was fighting the Star Fort cities is what you're looking at. So this city is being conquered right now. It has the armies on the left and the armies on the right going on the inside. If we go back, that is what you're looking at. These are the armies down below. There's the angry sun, the angry moon, and that's the Star Fort City that they're entering. That's the Star Fort City that they're entering. Angry sun, angry moon, Star Fort City they're entering. And this is the exact same thing. The angry sun has bombed the Star Fort City, and now the troops are coming in, and Mario is trying to defend it. That is what you're looking at right here. So this is, again, the elite. In the past, these people tried to write this story out, and all the books were burnt. So then they went and they printed it up on coins. So I went and I found a lot of these coins, and this story starts to show itself. But this is Mario's brother's real story, even though we're looking at it in the form of a game. So right here, I want to try to see this. It's at starforts.com. It says on their maps, Canada, France, Italy, UK, USA. So all of these places right here have star fort cities. In the last paradigm, before we have the city grid that we have, these countries right here all had star fort cities, like the exhibition cities that were in America before they were torn down were inside of a star fort city. So what's being attacked is star fort cities. You see, what's being attacked is a star fort city. The little edges right there, that's what's being attacked. And what's wild about this is majority of the star fort cities are preserved in France, Italy, and UK. But America, the star fort cities are all destroyed, or you can barely see them now. But those were the major cities before, you know, um, the city grids that we have right now. So this is from the previous paradigm. So the game Mario is talking about the war that put us, in this position that we are now, where our technology isn't strong. You can look at this right here. You cannot build this with a horse and buggy. This is mathematics. You can see the ground outlay. You have to have some strong tools. So when they built Star Fort cities, they built this first and then surrounded it with water. So they added water over this right here. So the Star Fort became like a water base right here. And these Star Forts was all over America, Europe. The Star Forts was all over Canada, Italy, UK, and they're being destroyed by some entity that is in the sky from what this coin is showing right here. So this coin is showing some entity in the sky, and then ground forces are destroying. Now, this will just let you know that there was a level of technology, and this was literally the 1400s going backwards to the 12th going down. I know our history books would have it that we're horse and buggy, but it really wasn't. After we all got conquered, after the conquering, information was taken away. They burnt the libraries. They made it hard to get educated. So a lot of this knowledge left. So we've talked about an angry sun and an angry moon, and how it has the same connection to Mario having an angry sun, and that sun, is dropping bombs on top of Mario, and there's ground forces, which are the mushrooms and the little turtles, that he has to try to defend the castle that he's standing on top of. So this right here, this image right here, is the exact same image that's on the coin. He's on top of a destroyed building. The Koopa creatures is trying to get him, and then you got the sun attacking. Well, it's the same thing. So right here is a point where the Mario game starts to progress, and it no longer shows an angry sun coming after Mario. So as the game progresses, it reveals what the angry, what is trying to fight him. So when you see this Koopa down at the bottom, both of these, the big Koopa is the angry sun. The little Koopa is the angry moon. That is what you've been looking at right there. The angry sun, the angry moon. Okay. Diagonal of the little Koopa, the gold coin. There's a man in the cloud, and he's dropping a bomb on top of a star fort city, and then you can see the armies down below. The Koopa got its image, meaning that the people who created Mario got the idea of this from this coin. So the guy in the coin is doing the exact same thing that the Koopa is. He's in the cloud. He has a bomb in his hand and he's dropping bombs below on a city with the army coming. And so in the game, you had the mushrooms, you had the Koopa troops coming. That is how it looks like in the game with this little Koopa. But in a real life scenario, it is showing you a man in the cloud dropping bombs on top of a city. Mario was standing on top of a city. There was a sun above, so this all connects right here. And then when you get to Koopa himself, you got to look at his device he's riding in. So it has propellers underneath the bottom. So he's riding in a cloud that has propellers underneath the bottom with a cannon. What you have to understand is they are showing you a spaceship or a airship that can cloak itself in clouds. So when you look to the right, there is the airship. And that airship right there can cloak itself in clouds, and it's above a star fort city. So what's continual is the factor that there are star fort cities being destroyed, and these places are where the castles are. So if we look at where we are right now, we went from an angry sun, and then we end up seeing what the angry sun and moon was. It's a big Koopa and a little Koopa. But when you bring it into, the real world application, meaning that, we're revealing what Mario was trying to show, then now we're seeing that the Koopa is actually a man. And then you're learning that the man that's in a cloud, he's not flying in a cloud like a divine situation. This man is in a cloud, but he's in a spaceship or a airship that like can cloak itself like a cloud. So the gold coin is symbolic and the silver coin is for real. So no matter what, the sun that we've been looking at on the coin and in the game has always been a man that can cloak itself inside of a ship and it's attacking cities. Look a little closer at this. There's this man right here. He has a triangle around his head. This is the exact same thing as the Mario game. This would be the sun, though. And the troops down below that's firing would be the Koopas and the mushrooms. And Mario would probably be in the city, like while it's being destroyed. Here is the airship. So when we're revealing what the elite don't want you to know, but they have to tell you, they're going to give it to you in the form of a cartoon. So the sun, the angry sun, is beings that are flying a airship, and they're using the airship to cloak itself in a cloud and bomb the cities below. And you would have Mario, let's say, protecting this city right here. That is what you're looking at right here. That sun right there, both these suns are represented as beings inside of an airship, and they are firing at the star fort city below. And then there's an army that comes along with them also firing. So in the video game, it looks like Koopa troops and the sun attacking, and Mario is, doing his best to defend whatever's left of that city. We get to this point. There's a point where Mario changes his image. And this right here is how you know that Mario is a Wildman. So we went from seeing Koopa, which is possibly a man, with some type of DNA inside of it. And now we're starting to see that Mario is also a wild man, or at least it needed to become this inside of the game in order to beat the reptilian Koopa. But if you look below, you can see that the wild man is in green. So it's the same thing as Luigi right there in the frog. You see green for green. And then you can see the other wild man. And that is your Mario right there. The green, that's Luigi, wild man. And the other one that's more tannish, that is the Mario wild man. So Mario and Luigi, the game is telling you that they're wild men. That is wild right there. So when we get to this point right here, what you're looking at is an angry sun and an angry moon, which is people in an airship. That is what you're looking at below. And they are fighting a Star Fort city. And the people in the airship, it's like saying that they might be reptilian. And the game is also saying that Mario is a wild man. So you have a wild man reptilian and a wild man Mario at the same time. I want to show you something right here from the movie Mario, though. And this will speak volumes right here. So check this out.
He's been uncomfortable in the human world, and you've at least suspected that you were different.
I've suspected a lot of things, but not that I...
That you descended from the dinosaurs. And you know what they say about little girls, don't you? They say they never forget the first time they're kissed by a lizard.
You see right there, he said in the game that she comes from a long line of dinosaurs. So what you're seeing is that King Koopa is a man who has like reptilian or snake DNA or dinosaur DNA. He is a wild man. He is a wild man, just like Mario is a wild man. And the princess, she is a wild man also, because she descends from a situation where they have dinosaur blood mixed in with man's blood. And literally, they say this in the game. This brings me to another thought. The Michael Jackson Dangerous album. There's a little black girl there, and she's holding a dinosaur head in her hand. And this is the exact same thing. So the Koopa, the King Koopa, is a man. You see what I'm saying? It's a man. So now you got to kind of think back to that gold coin, with the guy in the cloud. Was that this character right here? Let's look at this one more
Oh, you've
time.
always been uncomfortable in the human world, and you've at least suspected that you were different.
I've suspected a lot of things, but not that I...
That you descended from the dinosaurs. And you know what they say about little girls, don't you? They say they never forget the first time they're kissed by a lizard.
See, so the game was starting off as showing you an angry sun, and then the coins was showing also the angry sun and the angry moon. And then you got to see that the angry sun ended up turning into King Koopa, and the angry moon was the little Koopa. And then when you get to the coin, you see that there is a man in the cloud that's just like the small Koopa. So all of this is related right here. And the game Mario is telling you about a war that happened, in the last paradigm. That is what's going on right here. This is a war that happened, you know, um, before the 15th century right here, and a war that continued through. But it's a war of technology. And I think that's the hardest part right there is the factor that we live in a situation where there's technology 300 years supposedly ahead of what we have. So that was the same problem, obviously, at this time, going forward. But Mario is talking about a war that happened in the last paradigm that was over Starfort cities. This man right here, I want you to look at him right here. This right here is what the reptilian supposedly look like. It looks like a man. It doesn't have wings. It looks like a man. I don't know if it mutates or anything, but it has that DNA in it. But I want you to see this comparison. You notice that there's three entities behind him, wild looking dinosaur entities behind him. Look at this. This picture is the exact same thing we've been looking at. So you got Mario, you have the Koopa in the sky, so the lizard man in the spaceship. And then down below, you have the guy right there that we just saw. He looks like a man, and the three goons behind him. So the guy with the three goons behind him, there's the guy with the three goons behind him, and they're going up against Mario. So this group right here has air support. So there's something flying in a airship that's helping this group right here defeat Mario and say all the castles. But in the real world, there has been a war that is not in our history books that has obviously put us in the position that we are in right now. So I believe that we are conquered by another species. And that is what Mario is trying to show you, that you were conquered in the previous paradigm when the cities were star forts, and those star forts are now destroyed. We're living in a different situation. But this picture is exactly this right here. Three goons and the wild man that now looks like a regular man. Three goons and the wild man that looks like a regular man. You just see the floaty thing in the cloud. That is a man. So right here, that floaty thing in the cloud, that is a man. That is a being inside of a spaceship or an airship. So he's inside of an airship, and they have ground forces. So this guy right here is leading the army. And then you have a man that is trying to fight basically an invasion. And Mario is showing you this, that there was an invasion, and this is not talked about. There's an invasion round about, in my understandings, around about the 1400s to the 1500s, to where something that had airships came and fought, and I believe they defeated us. So the movies like Independence Day, all these movies like that, even Mario, they're all showing you something that happened from the previous paradigm. Because even in that movie Independence Day, it shows up as a ship that can cloak itself. It shows up just like this ship right here that's on this gray coin that can cloak itself. So the Mario, this big Koopa right here, that's the angry sun, little Koopa, angry moon. But ultimately, these beings, they're both inside of ships, and they're people who have reptilian blood in them. And they have, and to me, far as what I'm learning, has fought us in the past, and seems like they've conquered us because they're the ones telling us, this story right now in the form of a video game. And now you're learning that Mario is a wild man also. So this is showing that the reptilian, who looks like a man, flies in an airship that can cloak itself. Ultimately, this is their symbol right here. This is their symbol. And we'll look at it as a medical symbol. But this right here is their order. So you see the bird wing above, the snake below. You see on the other coin, the snake above, the bird below. So this is their bloodline. They fight within each other, like uh, the one on the right could be more of Mario's bloodline, and the one on the left is more of the King Koopa bloodline, so the reptilian bloodline. It could be vice versa. Who knows? But ultimately, these two is what's running the world right now. And the game is literally showing this right here in the form of a cartoon, in the form of a video game. That's wild right there. In the form of a video game. You can't beat that right there. So I think that there's even other games that I've seen. I think there's one called Altered Beast, where you turn around and you will power up and turn into a werewolf and to a tiger and then ultimately to a dragon. So they've been trying to tell us in many different ways, but this would be to some degree hard to believe, but it is the truth. Like that video game Mario that I love, they are telling a real story about a conquering that we went through, and they are using that game to tell you, but they're not going to literally tell you, because if they did, we would rebel against them. We would fight. We would rise up. So no, they're not going to tell you blatantly that you were conquered by another species of people. So that's something to think about right there. I know that was a little twist right there with the Mario. I love the game, so I'm not bashing the game itself. I'm just saying that it speaks of a real story. So with that right there, until the next time, I'm gonna always drop them videos. I try to drop them every week, so subscribe to me, and to the next time, y'all. Thank you again.